the door was the advice my cohort was given before teaching. And it was the worst advice that my cohort was given that I didn't end up following. And because I didn't end up following it, I ended up getting a job a lot quicker than my peers who did follow that advice. So let's talk about it. For those of you that are new here, hi, my name's Helena, coach for new and first year teachers, and let's talk about why this advice is so common. So this advice is really common because it's mostly fear-based. A lot of teachers are going to apply in the masses out of desperation because they're terrified that if they don't apply to a bunch of places, they're not going to get hired. It's this advice that student teachers should take the whatever jobs they can get. But the reality is there's a hidden cost to following this advice. So the first thing is you'll burn out finding a job. I can't tell you how many times every year I get the same question of a student teacher asking me, I'm looking for my first time teaching position. I've applied to dozens and dozens of districts and nobody's hiring me. What is it? And the reality is the answer is often in their question, because what happens is you're burned out finding a job because you're reaching out to so many. And oftentimes you're reaching out to misaligned districts. You're not actually sitting down and doing the research of each individual district. You're just applying to the masses, hoping you get anyone to bite. And so you might end up working for a district that isn't really right for you. And the reality is these teachers that end up going for just any position they can get, they work for sometimes misaligned districts, and they end up quitting the profession in their first few years not because of skill, but because of misalignment. Whereas if they had taken the time to be intentional and to apply to aligned districts, they probably would have found a better environment to stay in, and they might have stayed in the district longer and in the profession longer. So that being said, here's the truth. Your dream district is looking for you just as much as you're looking for it. I'm going to say it again. Your dream district is looking for you just as much as you are looking for it. There's a version of you who already has and is working in that aligned district. I used to do this all the time. I did it when I was in my student teaching. I would take time out of my day to look at the moon and think, oh my gosh, there's a version of me in the future who's looking at this moon and I'm already a teacher. And I would do it later. There's a version of me who's already a stay-at-home mom on extended maternity looking at this moon. There's a version of you who already has what you want. So it's time to ask yourself, what would she be doing about this? What would she be looking for? How would she get there? And it's not about getting hired, it's about being supported. So it's not about applying to any district that will hire you, it's about applying to the right one that's aligned with you. And that's the whole reason that I started talking about interviewing online, is because I saw so much information out there about applying to the masses, and I saw so many teachers get into districts that just weren't aligned with them and leaving the profession. And my goal is to help teachers get in the right districts to get hired by their dream districts so they can stay in the profession long term, because selfishly, I want good teachers for Addie. I want good teachers for my future kids. I want good coworkers. I want fun peers. I want good teachers to stay in the profession. And I know that a huge way to do that is to help teachers get in the right districts from year one, instead of working for a district out of misalignment because they're desperate or they're told they have to be desperate for their first job. So let's talk about the identity shift that needs to happen. So here's the reality. You're not desperate. You don't need to be desperate to get a job. You're worthy because you are. You know your worth worth, you know what you stand for, you play the long game. You don't play the short game and search for any district to hire you. You are discerning. You take the time to look at the districts you're applying to, and you are intentional about the ones that you give your time to, because you know that the ones that are aligned to you are looking for you just as much as you are looking for it. And when you apply out of this aligned space, the interviews you can have are completely different. When you apply to a district that's aligned with you, it feels like having a conversation with a friend, going for coffee with a future best friend. Whereas if you just force yourself and put on a mask and say the buzzwords that everyone wants you to say, it feels so inauthentic and it doesn't feel like a good fit for you. And not only have I had this experience, but teachers that I've worked with have had the same experience where working or applying to the aligned districts is a completely different interviewing process and experience than just applying to the masses. So you are discerning and you step into that and you show up as confident. So a great example of this is if I were to send one mass email to everybody I know and to everyone in the world, no one's gonna listen to me because it's not to anybody, it's just a mass email like spam. Whereas in scenario 2, if I tell one person why I'm a good fit for them or why I think this video or this week's content would be great for them because we had a conversation, then that's gonna be more aligned with them. It's the same thing. When you send one mass email to anyone who will listen, or one mass resume or cover letter to anyone who will listen, it's really hard to find people that'll resonate with you. Whereas if you get really clear on who this one person is you're sending an email to, and you make it really heartfelt and you tell them why you are the right fit for them, the response you're gonna get is way more authentic and real. So let's talk about the reframe. Your first job shapes your entire career. I'm gonna say that again. Your first job can shape your entire career. So you don't just get in. You don't need to just take any job. You get to choose wisely. You get to be discerning. You get to work for a district that's aligned with you. So now that we talked about that, let's talk about taking action. So I want you to take that list of 30 plus districts that you're about to apply to and make a list of your dream district. Narrow that list down to 3 to 5 districts that are aligned with your dream district and go all in on those 3 to 5 and why you are in alignment with those districts and why you would be a good fit for them. Differentiate your cover letter. Highlight why you are a good candidate and what you have in alignment with that particular district for those 3 to 5. And then if you want to do an experiment, apply to the other 25 and see which ones you get a higher response from. And I'd be interested to see in the comments what you find. So as a recap, I talked about why this advice is so common, and it's that fear and desperation that it's a numbers game. I have to apply to a bunch of people to get a single response, but the reality is if you apply to the right people, then you're gonna get a much higher response. We talked about the hidden cost of following this advice and how if you apply to the masses and you get hired by a school just because you wanted to get your first job and not because you're aligned with them, you're putting yourself up in a vulnerable position to get hired by a district you're not aligned with. That's not going to be a very good environment for you. That can be detrimental to your career long term and end to burnout. We talked about the truth. We talked about the identity shift where you are no longer working out of desperation. You know your worth, you know what you stand for, and you are discerning. We talked about the reframe and how to take action. How to take that list of 30 plus districts, narrow it down to 3 to 5, go all in on those 3 to 5, highlight why you are the perfect person for them. And then if you want, feel free to mass apply to the other 25 and see which out of the 2 lists you get a higher response from. If you want to take this interview conversation further, I have some steps for you. The first one is feel free to check out my free teacher interview guide. It's got my top 10 strategies to getting hired from an aligned district, not just any district. I have a ton of weekly content now on interviewing, so this takes my top 10 most viewed and puts it in one spot so it saves you time, which I really enjoy. The second thing is if you want help customizing your cover letter and resume for those 3 to 5 districts we talked about, make sure to check out my teacher interview bundle. It has over 10 matching cover letter and resumes that are plug and play. I even walk you through how to customize each one for each district. And then it also has things like follow-up email templates and thank you emails and even a demo lesson template. So make sure to check that out. If you want to take it a step further and you really resonated with this message in regards to not applying to the masses, but only applying to the ones that are right for you and getting in the right district, not just any district, I would love to have you join us inside Land Your Dream Job. Land Your Dream Job is my experience for teachers who are looking for the whole step-by-step process to getting hired by the right district, from research phase to application phase to what to say and how to show up in the interview, how to prepare, and what to do immediately following after. So make sure to check that out. As always, remember, we are stronger together, and I'll see you in the next one, teacher bestie. Bye.